He doesn't always have it
Got it.
ready. So wait, I guess I don't have to speak in the microphone.
You don't, but I have a feeling that's going to be a common theme.
It's fine. Okay.
All right. Well, welcome.
Hello. Welcome back.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I just did it.
I know.
Okay. Good.
We're just talking about it.
Take one. Go again. Okay. Start again.
Start again?
Yes.
You're cracking me
Oh,
up.
this is gonna be fun.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay. So welcome.
Hello.
And I think podcast number 6 for us.
Yep.
Nice.
And our first person, our first guest that we have on the podcast.
First guest.
Yeah, so exciting. And we'll get to
Yes.
that in a second. But just a quick announcement. We just recently launched our Facebook group, our Facebook business group, 6-Figure Beauty Business. So if you're interested in learning about basically our journey, it's just a group where we're going to talk about our successes and probably mostly our failures that have gotten us here. It's a great place to come and just kind of learn, ask questions, no hook, nothing to sell yet. Come in and learn if you're interested in that. I'm sure that it'll translate across to other industries.
Yeah.
So you're welcome to join.
Yeah. And yes, come join. You don't have to be in the beauty industry.
No,
Because
sure
we
don't.
actually had that question today,
Yes, we did.
but we said, heck no, come join us, join the fun. So
Yes. So our guest, Kameron Ross, I'm going to just give a little background and let him probably tell the real story. So I've personally known Cam for, gosh, I want to say it's 2016, 2015. So 8 years. He's the one that got me into powerlifting and specifically spreadsheets. And he is a avid jujitsu athlete, and he'll talk a little bit about that. Now, I just want to give a little preface of why in the heck would you bring a jujitsu athlete onto a Lash podcast?
well, that's actually what I asked it, Todd. But it made sense, and I'm super excited that you're here. So thank you.
Yeah. So Cam has grown his Instagram to over 6 figures. So keeping the theme. And so we brought him on to talk about that again, because a data guy, everybody asks about the algorithm, and that's what we're here to talk about. So Cam, welcome. Appreciate you taking the time to come out.
Well, I really appreciate it, and I'm honored I'm your first video guest. Hopefully I can deliver with some social media advice and some things that work for me, and hopefully they'll have some good takeaways.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you just kind of tell everybody a little bit about your background, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. We'll kind of focus on the Instagram page. I started it 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago or so. And it was a way to kind of track my jujitsu journey and share what I'm doing to get better. And fast forward 2 years, it's grown to about 110,000 followers. It's helped me connect with a bunch of businesses, with affiliates. And lately, the last month, it's helped me launch a online coaching business. It's really opened up a ton of opportunities. And within the last 6 months, it's grown the most. So I've learned a lot, and it's something that I enjoy, and it's frustrating at times. I'm sure everyone can relate, trying to figure out the algorithm and having those days where you don't want to post, or I've had days where I want to delete my account. So it's I can definitely relate. But yeah, I'm excited to be here, and it'll be a cool combo.
Really quick question. Did you set out to get so big?
Not at all. So I started it because I really like tracking things and documenting stuff so I can figure out what's working. And really, it was my wife and a couple of their friends. They said, you post really good stuff on Facebook and your personal Instagram page regarding training, so you should start a training page. And I was like, no, I don't want to, because I'm a little bit of an introvert, and it takes a lot for me to put myself out there. And I finally was just like, all right, let's do it. And I just started posting. And of course, at first it was really nerve-wracking, because you're thinking about, are they going to think I'm dumb, or I'm doing something stupid, or am I going to get some criticism? And so it really was a big step just to start it. And I didn't know where it was going to take me. It was more of just a personal journal for me. And as it growed and growed, and it kind of turned into something, it's something that was kind of a side hobby. And then it started opening up some big doors for sure.
Very exciting.
Well, and we like to take the bunny trails, as we like to say. So
yeah, of course.
Touching on the fear part of it, like you said.
Yeah, big time.
You know, being concerned what people might think or judgment.
Yep.
What are maybe, I don't know, 1 to 3 kind of tools or things you think about? Because I think that's if it's not everybody, it's darn near close to it. So what were kind of some things that got you past that? And then maybe what was your kind of your posting schedule?
One of the biggest things that helped me get past the anxiety or fear of getting judged or, you know, getting some criticism was realizing how important consistency was with posting. So if I was so dead set on making every post perfect, you know, not have anyone hate on it, basically, I wasn't posting enough. And so just realizing that, throwing a post out there, and then when you have some posts that do really well and you're like, I didn't know this was going to do well at all, you just never know. So I kind of set out to post once a day whenever I could. And it was pretty easy because I was training a lot and I was filming. And then I kind of just got in a routine where I had like a bunch of content ready to go. And then I would make the post and shoot it out and just not worry about what people would think. And then when I did get some constructive criticism, just kill them with kindness. And that's kind of, it kind of ends it. So yeah, just how important consistency is, and trying not to be perfect. If I could get over not having a perfect post or a perfect video or a perfect caption, it was way easier to post a bunch more.
Yeah.
And what do you think, because you were saying about 2.5 years since you started your page,
Yeah.
Yep. Where you kind of got to where you had that epiphany? Did you start out posting once a day, or did you kind of go with how you felt, or if somebody trolled you or was negative, you'd scale back? Or where do you think you finally came like, this is what the regimen has to be?
Man, when was that? Because it definitely, when I started, I tried to post once a day, but I definitely didn't. And it was a lot easier to post because I had like photos and videos and all this stuff I could post. Now it's kind of a little bit harder. But probably when I started seeing trends of, hey, when I posted like 3 or 4 days in a row, I started to see my post doing a little bit better. And then when I got a little bit better at filming content and just knowing what I needed to film, just having that available to post made it a lot easier. And then it just got into a routine where I saw my followers starting going up and my reach and my likes. And then it's just like, let's keep this momentum going. And I knew once a day, and then I started researching a little bit what works. And I just kept hearing consistency. And I can't post like 6 or 7 times a day because I have a job and a family and everything. So What is the posting schedule that I can stick to and be consistent? It's way more than how much you need to post.
Yeah. And again, kind of on that timeline, you know, with having your account for like 2.5 years, and I know that you just had some really profound growth in the last 6 months. So
big time, yeah.
If I remember right, you kind of grown to about 20,000, which again, in our group of nobodies, right? We were thinking,
oh, you're all somebody.
thinking that's pretty cool. And then it seemed from there, it just skyrocketed. And is that where you felt it really was starting to do something, or you're starting to see trends more clearly?
Yeah, definitely seeing trends more clearly. And I'll tell you what, it's the first 100 is really hard. The first 5,000 is really hard. The first 10,000 is really hard. But then once you start hitting that 15 to 20, 25, then it starts to speed up, because I think the Instagram algorithm realizes that your count has a lot of value. And I think that I got really good at kind of explaining to the algorithm who my audience was. So once that clicks in the algorithm mind of, hey, this guy, a lot of jujitsu athletes or strength conditioning guys would like his page, then they just start pushing it out. So it's that consistency of similar type posts, similar type captions, similar type hashtags, and then it just kind of takes off. So it's like a compound effect, because it took me longer to go from 0 to 10,000 than it took me from 50 to 100, like way longer. So it's like slow growth. And you guys can relate if you're starting something new.
Yeah. So
really slow growth.
it has been a struggle. Like I've been hitting so I've been sitting at 4,000 for a long time.
Mhm.
So, but so since we're talking about algorithm and we
Yeah,
like
of
to go the
course.
bunny trails, so there's a lot of talk right now about the algorithm switching up and
Yep.
changing the game
Yeah.
lately. Have you noticed that? And
It
what's your
seems like
opinion?
it seems like Instagram changes the algorithm like every week, and it's frustrating. And one thing
Yeah.
I've noticed is that my reach is way down. And I think it's
Yeah.
because Instagram is trying to figure out the right algorithm. So like they'll put a pause on what they were doing before. So everyone on Instagram right now is seeing a decrease in reach, like a big one for sure.
Mhm. Have you noticed a decrease in do you do stories on your
I do
Instagram?
I do stories. I've noticed a decrease in reach on stories too. One thing I did the last month was I don't post stories as much because I read about a tip where if you space them out a little bit more, it'll reach more people, and that has definitely helped.
Hmm.
So instead of posting like 10 in a row, you'll post like 3 or 4 or 5 maybe throughout the day.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Yeah. But yeah, algorithm. I think Instagram. They desperately want to be like TikTok so much that they're constantly adjusting things, and people get super frustrated. And you just kind of have to ride this low moment out, and
Yeah.
then eventually it'll get kicked back up for sure.
Are you on TikTok as well?
Yeah, unfortunately, I hate.
No, that's okay. Embrace it. It's totally fine. I'm on TikTok. All the cool kids are over there.
No, I
No,
did.
but
I did start on TikTok.
I've heard the same thing for TikTok. Like I think I don't know. This is just my own observation, but it seems like they're just in battle with each other, so everything's kind
Totally.
of like on pause.
Well,
Yeah, definitely.
and they're both businesses, so they really don't like the organic reach, right? So they're always going to throttle that. And I'm sure the Grant Cardones and even the Gary V's, right, take it
Right.
because they want you to pay the money, right? It's about the
Right.
ad spend. And so
Yeah.
I think they're always trying to level the field back out. So then it prompts people if they want to get their reach, especially if you're trying to monetize, right, for a
Yeah.
business. They want you.
I don't know if I agree with that.
So it's fine. You don't have to.
Yeah, like just for sake of conversation,
Huh?
I read somewhere because everything that you read is accurate on
Right.
the
Just
internet.
like when Keanu Reeves wants to be your
I
friend.
know, just like when Keanu Reeves wants to befriend me. Thank you, Keanu Reeves. We'll do a little shout out. But no, I read that they're finding a decrease. So example, I guess organic isn't really the same word, but like the trends. I don't know. Do you have a lot of audio behind your posts and your
Yeah.
stuff?
Audio
So
seems to be extremely important.
yeah. Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so controversial because I read that they're saying that now what's getting all of the hits is the original
audio. Yeah.
audio
Mhm.
versus like putting a dancing reel against something that has, a ton of other videos.
Mhm.
But
I'm
I just
interested
thought that
to-
was interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how you guys would define organic reach. How do you define it?
Well, I think really anything that's not paid or
Paid.
forced, right?
Right. Like them pushing your content to people they think that
Mhm.
will like it, right?
Well, more so like sponsoring like an ad.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think affiliates and influencers would be kind of non-organic, and that's I'm sure more debatable than actually paying money. But
Mhm.
I guess what I was going to ask you is, when you really started seeing things take off, were you noticing trends of more like shares of your content or more engagement, like you were prompting questions or feedback, on your posts and things? Or
So I definitely noticed a gigantic uptick in reach. Like when I would go to my analytics, I'd have it was like a 3-4 million reach. It was ridiculous. And
Wow.
that was a time where I was prompting a lot of direct messages and prompting a lot of comments. And what I noticed was there was this time period where Instagram was really pushing small accounts for some reason, and smallish accounts like under 100K. The organic reach was really, really good. And then one thing I was doing that was really time consuming, but it really worked, was my call to action was like, hey, if you're interested in my last 10 videos of this topic, comment below, then I would respond to the comment, and then I would shoot them a DM of all those past videos, and then they would click to those videos. So according to the algorithm, they were commenting on my post, they were going to my DMs, and then they were rewatching videos from my page. And that is like all watch time for that person. It like ranks my page super high with interest. So then it just started shooting out to a ton of people. So I don't do that much anymore because it just takes forever.
Right.
And but I noticed that I hammered, because I was on light duty at the time, I really hammered engagement big time. So I was responding to all my comments with questions and trying to start conversations. I was DMing a ton of people that DM'd me and starting conversations. And then I was trying to get them to revisit my page. And that seemed to rank my page super high.
Well, and I think that reinforces what we've always heard since the beginning of time is engagement, right?
Yeah, it's huge for sure.
Is what they're looking for, and providing value is what gets that engagement. And again, for our viewers, listeners that haven't gone to your page, I encourage you to go check it out, because the quality of content and the niche of which you've chosen, which is, strength training.
Yeah, it's in the education realm.
Yeah, absolutely. And
which is a big one.
Yeah. And I think even the people who are entertainers in their
which is a realm too, for sure.
Yeah. But I think that they have less, because when you're providing value, whether it's business or fitness or, how to cook, that always, if that's what somebody's searching for, right, coming up for that topic is key. And I think you and I talked about that at one point. You're starting to see yourself, basically own some hashtags.
Yeah, for sure.
In the training realm.
Yeah, so I think engagement is huge, and I think it'll always be huge in order to crack the algorithm. And then I know watch time was really important. So if someone would stop on your reel, watch the whole thing, and then maybe read your caption and then comment, that'll be like a 15 or 20-second connection with that person. And then Instagram will be like, well, his post must be pretty good. Let's show it to more people.
Yeah.
What would you tell people to do if they're struggling getting interaction with other people on their posts?
Sure. Have a good call to action. A call to action is something at the end of your video that prompts something. So either say, comment below for something, or shoot me a DM, or just something that prompts someone to do something is really good. And then just have really good value, like Todd said, on your post. Something that's maybe a little controversial is always good. I know I had a guy that was growing really fast on his page, and he'd always post these controversial like jujitsu topics, and then he'd get like a million comments, which I never leaned into because this is not who I am. But the call to action, I think if you get really good at that, you're gonna have some people comment for sure, and then comment back and start a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So something you just touched on a second ago, and because I wanted to finish the thought and come back to this, is time, to be able to manage your social media. And I guess I'll kind of ask you first, babe, like your experience with managing your social media, DMs and all that kind of engagement, what your experience has kind of been.
It can be really time consuming. I think there's a difference between trying, like Kameron said, trying to have your posts and everything be perfect, then it's really time consuming. But I haven't had a lot of time like interacting with people because I'm still trying, to be completely vulnerable, still trying to grow. And I'm in that invisible bubble. I'm in, what do they call it? Like that shadow bubble right now. So there's not a whole ton of interaction and engagement yet. But I have noticed that the posts and the reels and the stories that I put out that are informative or really gross get a lot of shares and comments. So what I'm learning from that is people don't really care about a pretty lash post or a pretty lash picture. They want to learn something, they want to laugh, or they want to be grossed out.
Yeah, or if they can relate, like relatability is really big too.
Yeah, and I think people really like you post a lot of your story, like your training program, and like
totally
the real you. And I think people really like that.
And
They
that's
like
one
to
thing
see
I,
that.
yeah, that's one thing I did lean into these last 5 months that I had the most growth was being vulnerable and
Mhm.
showing them just what I was going through. And it was surgery, it was recovery, rehab. So that was, I think if you use your stories as connecting with those people that are following you, and then your post as trying to reach more people is a good balance.
Mhm.
Because the people that are following you, that are engaged, that comment, that shoot you DMs, they want that personal side on your story. And that's what I use my stories for usually. And I felt like just the genuine, real you is super important for people to connect with for sure.
Mhm.
And will you get, because I know the story, just a quick cliff notes of about your injury and just
Yeah.
like kind of what happened there, and then kind of following up on what we talked about as far as time and maybe some tools you put in place, you know, to be able to manage how much time you were spending on.
Of course. So about 5 months ago, well, at the beginning of the year, I was dealing with some shoulder pain, and we did PT and doctors and MRIs, and nothing was really working. And there was a little bit of damage in my labrum. So I ended up going the surgery route, got surgery. And at first I was like, well, I can't train now. My Instagram's going to die. But
Aw.
I had some content built up. So I just slowed down my pace. So I stayed consistent, but I posted every couple days. And then I leaned heavily on my stories. I started a newsletter to keep the time going by. And then I kind of got into more of the engagement because I had more time. But then I would swing just my personality. I'd go way too deep into stuff. I would swing way into the, I'm going to spend 3 or 4 hours engaging and commenting on big posts and all that stuff, trying to like push my name out there. Then it would just get overwhelming and stressful. I felt super stressed. Because I was always feel like I was drawn into the Instagram app. So I ended up setting time limits and finding what was best for me for not only getting what I needed to get done, the posts, the responses, and the DMs, but not mindlessly scrolling. So I really shifted over to I am a creator, not a consumer. And I don't do much scrolling now, other than I have a couple favorite accounts that I get ideas from. But I'm about 1 to 2 hours a day. It's about, if I go over 2 hours, then my stress level skyrockets and I get overwhelmed really easy. So
I like
just
that mindset that you just
Yeah.
said, that you're
Yeah.
telling yourself you're a creator, not the consumer. I really
I-
like that. That's
you
gonna
have
stick
to.
with me.
You have to for sure, especially when
Yeah.
your account gets really big, which yours will if you're consistent with it.
Mhm.
You have to switch over or you're just going to be on it forever.
And just to give people perspective, what do you think you were where did you kind of float to as far as how much time you were doing versus you said you kind of now restrict 1 to 2 hours?
I was easily like 4 or 5 hours a day. It was not like super productive. I would probably spend a little too much trying to make the perfect post, probably spend too much scrolling through other people's feeds, probably posting too many stories. Like I just was on the app a lot.
Did you
And
do
I
any of
noticed,
the like dance move ones?
no, I never, no. I've stayed away from the dances and I've stayed away from the shirtless ones, which I probably would have more
Aw.
followers if I.
No.
Maybe the wrong ones. So.
Yeah. So actually, like, yeah, in one of my strategy tips, I have mental health, and it's limiting to 1 to 2 hours a day. If I can't get what I need to get done in 1 to 2 hours on a day, then I'm doing something I'm not supposed to. It's taking too long. And then just a game changer for me was taking one day completely off, and it's Sundays usually. We call it social media free Sunday. And I actually found this from one of some big social media guys that have like 1 million followers. They completely black out their social media for one whole day. And it may kill my consistency a little bit and may have a little bit dip in following, but it's so refreshing. Like just get off it for the whole day and then restart on Monday.
But I guess if you're taking every Sunday off, that's been consistent, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
So it's Monday through Saturday and then a break on Sunday for sure. And one thing it also does, it resets your stories. So I noticed that if, like I said earlier, if you post a lot of stories in a row, you kind of get lost in sharing your story as far as views goes. Taking a full day off, a lot of the big Instagram people do it because they want to reset that, I don't know, algorithm with the story. And then one thing I'll know this Monday morning when I do my first story, I'll have triple the amount of views that I normally get.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because we've noticed a huge dip in our reach from stories. Went from like hundreds and hundreds to like 60.
Yeah. And I always try to have something interactive on my stories. It kind of gets kind of repetitive because there's not a ton of interactive tools. but
Mhm.
just having something they can click or swipe or vote or
Yeah.
comment, or it's something that helps too with them pushing your story out.
Yeah, it's got to be easy, right? Or almost
Yeah, super easy.
mindless, like you
Yeah,
said,
right.
people are mindlessly scrolling.
Yeah.
And I guess just to kind of like summarize some of that is, I think what I'm hearing is imperfect action, better than the perfect action. Like when you guys are both talking about trying to make the perfect piece of content,
Without a doubt, for sure.
and also the authenticity, right? And
Yeah.
being vulnerable is what people more, I guess, create trust with you or your brand.
Right.
And probably making the mistakes actually gets you further than having perfect content.
Yeah. And I think Instagram likes imperfect reels. They don't like this perfect, like, like studio quality, everything's nice. Those imperfect reels are almost like a extended story, I think you'd say. It's supposed to be kind of spontaneous. And I noticed that some of the biggest Instagram coaches, their reels aren't perfect, and they're obviously a little rehearsed, but pretty much off the cuff. And I
I've
think
noticed they're really bright.
yeah,
Have you
brightness
noticed
is
that, like
huge.
bright
Yep.
colors and a lot of,
Yeah.
I've noticed that. Well, at least the ones that I follow. It's
Yeah. So
not, it's kind of like
brightness
a
is
third grader did them.
brightness is actually a big indicator on if it's going to do well or not. So my
Really?
videos are probably a little darker but if you are able to do it in a bright room or jack up the brightness, it just stands out. So I've noticed that too, for sure.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, brightness is a
Cool.
big
Pro
one.
tip.
Yeah. You're bringing in all the good stuff
All the good
today.
stuff. One last thing, or I don't know, last thing, but I want to transition to kind of monetizing, once you get, good organic reach, right? Engagement. I guess one, maybe kind of talk about affiliates or product. And then of course, as we know, you've recently launched a online training program. So maybe tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, so definitely at that like 25 to 50K mark, I was like, there's got to be a way to monetize this. Like, Reels bonuses came out, which are nice, but you have to have like 8 million views to make a lot of money.
Have you gotten one?
Bonuses? Yeah, I've had it for about 4 months.
What?
Yeah,
That's cool.
So it's it is nice because you get paid per view, kind of like TikTok and YouTube. And what's nice about Reel bonuses when you do get them is your first like 1,000 views monetize the highest. So you get the most money for those first 1,000. Because what Instagram's trying to do is they're trying to get people to post more reels. So they're going to pay people early and with their first 1,000 views. So those smaller accounts will actually get money too. So even at a small account with a couple thousand views, you can make a couple $100 per month for sure.
Oh, that's
on
good.
bonuses. So that was nice. And I had some affiliates with companies that I actually use. So I'm pretty careful on who I affiliate with. And affiliate codes are hard because you have to let people know you have them. So like you're always posting on your story, like use my affiliate code. It's kind of I don't know, kind of annoying, I guess, because people definitely spam the crap out of their affiliate codes. Usually they're really small accounts because they think they're going to make a lot of money. So I typically just throw my affiliates at the bottom of my captions. And if people know who I'm affiliated with, they'll associate me with that company when they buy something, and they'll find my affiliate code.
Who
And that's
are
what
you
I want.
affiliated with?
So I'm affiliated with, my biggest one is Origin and Jocko Fuel. I've been pushing them forever. I've been to 2 of their camps. Recently, I kind of increased my partnership a little bit. I guess I'm a quote unquote athlete for theirs. So we get a little bit more stuff. They are a company that I'm going to continue to be a partner with because I think they're going to be really big, and they are growing. I'm affiliated with Vivo Barefoots. I have an affiliate code for them. It's a training shoe, minimalist training shoe. Iron Neck, because jiu-jitsu always has jacked up necks. And
So what is Iron Neck?
it's like a neck training tool that you put on your head. It's like a big saucer that you can attach to a band and work out your neck in a horizontal.
You'll have to send us a picture of you wearing
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm not kidding. I really want to see it.
And then I'm affiliated with a couple of grip tools that they sent me their product to try, but that's about it. I don't want to leave anybody out, but
well, and I'll say too, I think, and maybe you can tell me if you agree with this, but it needs to be consistent with your brand, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, as far as affiliates, and I would say that you do a good job with it being tasteful, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Right.
I don't feel like you're spamming like, hey, buy this so I can make some money. It's here's a tool I've used and I have
For sure.
success with. And, if you're interested in it, doing it, you can get
Yeah.
a discount and,
For
support
sure.
what I'm doing.
And ultimately people are going to use your discount, not because they want to save a bunch of money. Because they're kind of supporting you a little bit.
Mhm.
They're like, hey, I like this guy, I'm going to use his code. So
Mhm.
generally at the bottom, what's up?
Did you find that did these people reach out to you,
Good
or
question.
did you reach out to them?
I've
Or a little
reached
bit
out.
both?
I've reached out to probably 90% of them. I reached out to Origin, Jocko Fuel, Vivo Barefoot, Iron Neck. The gripping tools that I'll get, they'll usually send me them, and if I really like them, I'll post quite a bit. And then one that I reached out to was like battle ropes, in the gym. Well, they have this company called Dopamino, and it's a band, like a heavy band that you can use to work out. And I reached out to them when I was like at 75 or 80K or something, and just shot in the dark, like, hey, you want to work with me? And they're like, oh yeah, of course. And they sent me like a ton of stuff and made me like an official athlete and all this stuff. So it's definitely, I think, worth it to reach out to them, because they're probably not going to reach out to you unless you have a lot of followers.
Right.
I've noticed that 100K, I get people reaching out to me all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But before that, it was pretty rare.
Did you ever, so question, but I'm sure the answer is no. I mean, because you're pretty cool, I can tell. Like you're the cool guy. Ever find yourself trying to fit into what you think these affiliates want from you?
I would say that sometimes I find myself wanting to use their products more because I'll get paid per post.
Mhm.
And I've definitely noticed that. But if I'm not using it in my training consistently, like without getting paid, then I can't post about it, because I feel like I'm just posting because of it. And I think it'll really show in the post if you're just posting it to get paid, or
Right.
and that's something I've noticed, especially with the bands, because I do get paid per post. And lately I've been dealing with some neck stuff. I haven't been training as hard, so I'm not really using them as much. So they've reached out and said, hey, is everything cool? And I said, yeah, I just haven't been using your bands much. So could I go out in the garage and film something and probably get paid? Yeah, but am I really using it to its full potential? Probably not.
Right.
So
And in the
yeah,
end, I feel like the honest people
definitely.
really will rise in the end. It may not show right away, but yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
it just goes back to what you started with, is the consistency, right? And the discipline, and staying the course, right? And
Right, stay in the course for sure.
That, most people aren't going to grow to 100,000 followers from 0 or even 4,000 in 90 days, right? You got to stay the course, and you got to have that track record, I think, for the algorithm to know that you're here and find, like you said.
I mean, it was 2 years of very consistent posting with me having kind of a pulse on what's working and constantly adjusting. Like if you scroll through my whole feed, it's changing. It's even changed the last 2 months. And it's because I'm kind of figuring out what is working. And then once I find something, I'll roll with it for a while. And then if it's not working, I'll kind of do some research, and it's constant adjustment. So it's kind of chasing the algorithm, really, is what it is.
I bet you if you had your cute little son in more videos.
Yeah.
He's adorable, by the way.
I know, he's super cool.
I don't know what your wife looks like, but I'm sure she's gorgeous.
Yeah, just go to my personal page. I'm definitely for sure.
Yeah, she's the manager behind the scenes.
That's right. She is, for sure.
So going from affiliates, you just recently launched a training program. So basically a strength conditioning program that's tailored toward jiu-jitsu athletes.
It is, yeah.
But of course, training can be training. And I know this because we had the conversations when you were starting to make the goal of 50,000 followers, right? And do that. Maybe just kind of tell us a little bit of where, your mind kind of went as you started to see that exponential growth with your account, and then kind of going past the fear thing, like you talked about earlier, to be able to launch, this training program.
Yeah. Oh man. So the company actually reached out to me, and this was one of the few times that it did. And when you Google like how to monetize your Instagram, it always says like have a product or sell a service or direct people to a website, or I didn't have any of that. And I was like, well, I don't know if I ever want to move into the coaching space. So they actually hit me up like 3 months ago when I was like at 75K or something. And they said, hey, we work with coaches that are at 15,000 and are doing really well. We love your content. We know, we can tell you're knowledgeable. Have you ever thought about coaching? And what immediately came to my mind was, I don't want to spend more time on Instagram and more time on this social media thing that I want to. So I immediately shut them down. Like, I was like, no, I appreciate you guys reaching out, and we're done. So they kind of kept at me for like another month. And then I was like, all right, let's set up a meeting. So I set up a meeting, a Zoom meeting with them, and they explained their product and talked about what they do. And I was immediately like super intimidated. I was like, oh my gosh, this is something I can't do. And so I told them no again. And then about a month after that, I don't know what changed. I think they were just super persistent. And of course, they were throwing money numbers out and explaining to me, like, it's not as much time as you think. It's a ton of upfront work. You guys can attest to how much work it is to get something rolling, get a business launched. It's tremendous. It's been the busiest week or month of my life. So I was like, well, what's the buy-in cost? What's the ultimate goal? What is the risk? And ultimately, I talked to my wife, and I'm not quitting my day job. We're committed on not spending more time than we need to. And we're just going to see what happens. So I've wanted to quit a lot the last month, because it's, again, with the perfect thing. Like, I want the perfect program. I want to have like 7 more certifications. Like, I want to be this much more qualified. But I just sit down and trust in my knowledge and expertise, because I've obsessed over the last 4 years, because I have experience in the trenches. And I finally just said, let's do it. And I filmed like 250 videos the last 2 or 3 weeks. I built programs. I've learned the dashboard, and we went live last week, and we've got like 20, 25 leads coming in, and we've signed on 3 clients. So Wednesday, I'll be officially making my first dollar as an entrepreneur. And
that's so awesome.
I'm less stressful now. It's still a little stressful, but I tell you what, the stress and anxiety I felt 2 weeks ago was 10 times this amount. So I know that, and I just started leaning into really stuff that are kind of uncomfortable, and seeing what happens. And I kept telling myself, let's just let it fail or let it succeed. Give it my best and let it fail or let it succeed. And the company's been great. They worked with me. They're like baby stepping me into the business, because it's almost a sales business too. It's something that I never thought I'd do, but it's a perfect transition to my Instagram growth, to the reach I have, because I have plenty of people that are interested. And then now it's just continue post quality content and get better as an online coach. So it's exciting for sure.
Very exciting.
Yeah, LLC, everything. We're official.
Ooh.
Nice. Okay, so with that, then talking about your training program, I know it's tailored specific, well, not specific, primarily toward jiu-jitsu athletes. Is it something anybody can use, or that's kind of another phase down the road, or where you kind of envisioning this going?
Sure. I think it's more of another phase down the road. With jiu-jitsu having unique demands on the body, it's kind of hard to fit weight training in, because you could easily do too much. You don't want to waste your time in the gym, because typically people are on the mats like 4 or 5 times a week. So you want like really quality stuff. And then, fitting in unique core and grip exercises. So it's definitely tailored towards jiu-jitsu athletes, but who knows where we'll go, because the company I'm working with generally works with just regular personal trainers. So it's definitely an option if I wanted to program for your average Joe. And we'll think about that down the road. I made my LLC very broad, so if I want to like branch out into different things, I can. But the platform is specifically for online coaches. It's scalable. They've done it with tons of people. They know what they're doing. So I'm kind of I'm a little bit along for the ride, and see where it goes. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think things can really be successful if you tailor into the specific and you're not as broad. I think,
for sure.
I mean, again, I'm not in the jiu-jitsu world, but I can't imagine that there's a ton of people out there, doing what you're doing right now. So that's,
or doing it well,
and really care, because from what I hear about you, you really care about what you're doing. You're very specific. And so you're focused on doing it right and providing an excellent training. And so then it's going to show through.
For sure. And they talk about like having a specific niche. The more specific you are, probably the faster you're going to grow.
Yeah. Is it niche or niche?
I think it's niche, but I'm not sure.
Just wondering. Yeah.
So having a specific target audience, or at least know who your audience should be is really important, because that'll help you tailor your posts. And then, yeah, I don't see a lot of jujitsu strength conditioning specialists out there. I mean, I've been on the Instagram for 2.5 years, and I follow as many strength conditioning guys as I can. There's probably like 10 that I know that are legit. So, I mean,
That's
the space
exciting.
is there. Yeah, the space is there, and the sport is growing exponentially. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes. The guy keeps saying, well, how much money do you need to make to quit your day job and scale this thing? I was like, I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah. Well, it's
Way-
going to be there
way
before you
scary.
know it, I bet, you know?
We'll
That's
see.
exciting.
Yeah. Gotta love the journey, right?
Mhm.
Well, and it's like, find something that I was talking to a coworker today about finding something that you're so passionate about that you're doing anyway, that you love doing. And then if you can work on that aside from like your main income and just see where that goes to monetize, it's the potential is there because you're passionate about it and you have dedication and drive.
Mhm. And people will see that and they'll
Oh,
trust
totally.
you.
Yeah, for sure. Trust is huge.
Mhm.
Yeah. So why don't, as we wrap up here, I know you kind of have a list of some tips, maybe top 5 suggestions or thoughts you have for everybody.
Okay. I'll have to pick only 5.
Or you
10
say
or
as
what-
many as you want. We
Yeah.
got time.
Yeah. Bring the value.
Bring
brother.
it on. I mean, I'm coming away with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember them right off the top of my head. At
Yeah,
this
I can send you
moment.
this. I can send you this list.
Okay. Creator, not consumer.
And creator, not. That's So the top of my list is mental health. So limit to 1 to 2 hours a day, and then take 1 day completely off. Become a creator, not a consumer. One thing that I've spent when I make a post, I spend probably 75% of the time figuring out a good hook, because you need people to stop on your post. And the hook is like the title, or like the first 2 seconds of the video. So if you have something that intrigues someone and hooks them in, that's 90% of the game right there for sure. So find a good hook, and then with people's short attention spans, make sure your video has transitions, color changes. You've noticed with your people that you follow, the bright lights, the post isn't boring, so they keep them on the post.
Have you honed in on the transitions? That's a tough one for me.
It is tough for sure, because it's more time, right? It's more time.
I mean, and they're getting fancy.
Yeah.
What is
really
with
fancy.
it? It's like, yeah.
I think if you really want to dive deep into the transitions, find some templates that you like, because you can find people that are doing really well that have like a big post, and you use their template. So when you click on, I don't know if you've done it, but you use the template and then it'll already have the transitions broken. Then you just plug in your videos.
Okay.
So that could be pretty good too. It's right now what's working is short form content. So your 10 to 15 second videos, which is crazy because it was like 20 to 30 and then 30 to 60. And it's like keeps getting shorter. Like soon it'll be like 4-second videos.
Yeah, what are we gonna do with that?
It's too fast. And then trending song on Instagram, I think, is still pretty important. So what I do with my songs is I flip open Instagram and I find ones that are trending in my niche though. So if I have a trending song that's for like, I don't know, what would be completely, I mean, in your niche, like
lashes.
Lashes. If I put a trending song on my like on my grip training video, yeah, it's a trending song, but it's not going to do good because it'll confuse the algorithm. They're like, why did he pick this song? Because it has nothing to do with all the other good videos. So it takes a little bit more time, but like I'll find a trending song and I'll flip through it, and then there's a bunch of working out videos, and I was like, okay, this seems like it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then with my my captions, I try to have some like big words like jujitsu or athlete, or I try to describe who I want my post to go to in that caption. So, have all your keywords in that caption. The same thing with hashtags. They're not crazy important now, but it's a way to describe who you want the post to see, to go to, I guess you'd say. So I put like jujitsu, BJJ, jujitsu athlete, grappler, kind of like helping the algorithm, like, hey, this is who I want to see the post. I noticed that helped too.
Well, I know YouTube, like with the shorts, for example, I know they say put hashtag shorts just to help their algorithm grab it, even though they kind of do automatically when it's a certain time frame and format, as we were talking earlier. But that makes sense, that getting specific instead of just spamming hashtags hoping that something hits.
Yeah, if you're putting a hashtag there that's not related to your video, it's just going to confuse it. So when I got really dialed in on having specific hashtags to the video, both specific and broad, I noticed them get a lot better.
Do you use a certain number of hashtags, or is it just whatever you feel like that
Man,
day?
like a year ago, hashtags were everything. Like you
Mhm.
spent hours on hashtags, and right now it's just like 5 to 10 is
Mhm.
probably the most I'll use. I haven't really noticed. I've used like 2, and I've used like 20. As long as they're related to the post, I don't think it really matters how much you put. There's probably diminishing returns if I had to guess.
Mhm.
And then the final couple of things would just be find a consistent routine that you can stick to, and then provide value with every post and push for engagement. So would probably be my biggest tips. And there's some smaller things, but engagement, value, consistency, and then just those hooks and CTAs. So
Mhm.
it's once you find like I have kind of a routine when I post now, like a set things I do. So every post is kind of similar. So I don't deviate from it as much. So once you find kind of your style and you fit some of these strategies in, see how they do, and then constantly tweak it. So
Well, maybe we'll, if it's okay with you, have people reach out to you if they have questions,
oh
whether
yeah,
it's about
totally.
jujitsu. Did I say that right?
Jujitsu. Sure.
Jujitsu or social media, anything like that.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
why don't you tell everybody the best way to find you, and we'll post, links and stuff as well.
Yeah, so I follow a lot of Instagram coaches and on YouTube too. So whenever they come out with a new video, I'll like save it, or if I find some value in it, I'll write it down and I'll kind of update this list. So I respond to every comment, every DM. So if you have any social media questions or who I follow for some advice, shoot me a DM. It's cross training BJJ with a K. Or you could probably put K Ross and I'll probably pop up. But yeah, shoot me a DM, and I'm a total open book. I'll share everything I got.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we're buddies, but I appreciate the
Aw.
time. We all got busy lives, and you dropped some major gems here. So
Yeah,
I don't know, we might break this up into 2 episodes just because it's got so much
it
good stuff.
does.
So
I know.
yeah,
Like
For sure. And I think if we have another like round 2, I think we should go deep into like starting a business and what it's like, and
yes.
what have your failures been, because that's a whole another hour we could talk about.
Well, and too, especially, I feel like you have a lot of knowledge to bring to the table because you have a young child
For
and a
sure.
wife. Like, how
Yeah.
do you, how do you go about that? And another job, right?
Yeah,
Right? You have a
I do.
full-time
Yeah,
job. Mhm.
full-time job. I work like 48 hours a week, 12 on or 4 on, 4 off. So there's certain days where I'm just packed. So I had to
Yeah.
get super into like calendar and scheduling and being intentful and blocking out hours. So yeah, that's a whole nother
Yeah. Well, we
podcast
should do
episode
that.
for sure.
Let's get it on the books.
yeah. Well, to date.
It's a date.
Sweet, sounds good.
All right, Cam, thanks so much. Appreciate you. And
Yeah, absolutely.
all of you that hung out
Mhm.
and watched through this, hope you got something out of it, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right.
All
Take
right,
care. Bye.
see ya.